Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about why you should or shouldn't study computer science as a computer scientist, and I'm going to give you a detailed guide why to do it, um, when it, what it's depending on, what are your goals. And my experience, we're going to discuss all these things in this video. So yeah, if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment because we are doing one of those things with this actual programming. So if you're interested in that, please make sure to subscribe, and else we're just gonna go into the video. So study computer science. I would say think again. It really depends on your location, where not only where you live, who you're hanging around with, what your goals are in your career, and everything actually around you. Now, some of the things are more related in engineering, some of the things are related in a sense of actual computer science. So the first thing I'm going to talk about in this video, why you should study computer science. Then I'm going to talk about why you shouldn't study computer science. And then I'm going to tell you about my experience. So yeah, let's get into it. So why should you study computer science? Well, first of all, you already have experience. So what do I mean by experience? This could be maybe professionally, such as you already made a website as a freelancer for some kind of company, or you had a friend and that you had to support with the IT, like a Discord moderator, you had to make a bot and those kinds of stuff, or you actually already have experience with a programming language in the sense of you made an application before. This could be very simple with Python, Django, and those kinds of stuff, or even with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So if you already have like a little foundation, that is already the moment that you maybe should study computer science. Now, I'm going to give you a catch. You actually need to know the programming language really well, and you need like a little bit of foundation of mathematics, specifically discrete mathematics, but also some hardcore algebra would also be fine at the beginning. Now, for the people that live in Europe or maybe the USA, I highly recommend to actually not go to study computer science yet, or if you will, what you should do, you should go to like a free boot camp with some kind of test. You will learn like a programming language like C or C++, and actually try to achieve that test. And if you actually achieve that test, your whole study can actually be free, your whole boot camp. So that is something you can look out for. Not every country has this, but this will save you a lot of money, and also you will get a lot of support and help after that because everything is free. So that is the one of the first things that you can do. The second thing is you want to be some kind of tech lead or a really project leader somewhere high up in a company, like a prestigious company. This could be a FANG or other kinds of prestigious company. Definitely like a higher up senior level tech architect, those kinds of stuff. If you don't know what these words means, it basically means you're leading like a big team or you are like the big brain, right? That is your goal. Maybe your goal is even CEO. That would be a great goal to have. You want to be an academic, so this means that you also might be going for a master or even a PhD. You love everything about computer science and what it can do. Maybe you can find some cool study you're going to do or release some papers, or maybe you want to teach this even because you love talking about it so much. Like you're the person that talks about this on a Saturday evening with like having some beer and those kinds of stuff. Like then these are signs that you want to be an academic. Again, we're talking about why you should, right? But soon we're going to talk about why you should not study computer science. The fourth reason would be you come from a moderate, supportive family. So what this means, you have a good foundation of mathematics, you have a good foundation of comparing, seeing limits, recognizing stuff, maybe at the level of some having some photogenetic memory, or you just see stuff and things that doesn't make sense or do make sense. You see it very fast, but you also don't have any other big stressors in your life. So there's a lot of you have a lot of room to actually learn the logic, right? This will be a good sign that you should study or even study computer science. You have passion not only with computers, but it's actually the only thing that you like. Computers, that's it. Gaming, that's it. Hacking some little stuff, that's it. That is it for you. Study computer science. It's very good. Now, I'm not talking about computer engineering and those kinds of stuff. Like, I did not do that, so I cannot tell you. It's very similar, but it's different, right? So yeah, there's that. The the sixth thing is that you're young. You're between the age of like 17 and 23. That is a good indicator that you should study because you have the opportunity to do so. Because after you hit a certain age, when you are going to study, the problem is that you not necessarily run out of time, but you run out of opportunity and experience with the current market right now. And depending on what country you live, right? But we're going to talk about countries and more specific a little bit later on. You're already some kind of manager or a developer. You're already a backend developer or a medium backend developer or even a senior. Like you're already doing something in the field, right? So that is a good indicator that you should do a bachelor. Even better if your company says, hey, we have this opportunity, you have this budget, you can go and study computer science next to. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be way easier than starting from fresh, right? Because if you start from fresh, there's a couple of complications we're going to talk about soon. Again, the last thing that I want to say is that your bachelor is either paid or you can pay it easily, and you have family support. So if things go wrong, like for example, you're gonna go study doing a minor, right? And things go wrong, yeah, someone has your back, right? That's very important to have. Now, some of these things that I have applied, for example, maybe for like Korean students, Chinese students, or students from India, some of the things you were like, oh my God, I'm panicking, right? Don't worry about it. I'm going to explain also in this. You know your country better than I do, but I'm going to talk about you guys specifically as well. All right. Why shouldn't you study computer science? So we are 8 minutes in. I'm going to put in, let me actually put it here now. So I'm going to put some kind of stop. All right. Why shouldn't you study computer science? You have homework for the rest of your life. So if you don't like studying, or you're going to be like, well, I'm going to go for like a half year and not going to touch it anymore, that is a good indicator that you should not study computer science, because this world is evolving fast and you need to adapt like really fast to the environment. Especially with the age of AI, you definitely need to be the top of your game, recognizing stuff, filtering stuff really fast, and have these skills in demand, these kinds of soft skills. So if you don't like homework rest of your life, you like to chill out a little bit, do not going to study computer science. Instead, if you do want to do something in IT, I recommend to go for a different role or a different study. Okay. So the second thing is that the market is very competitive, especially in India, China, Korea, but also lately in Europe and also in the USA, depending on what job you're gonna have. A bachelor is actually becoming the average. So this is something you have to keep in mind. Maybe if you, for example, in India, that is not even the average anymore. The master is the average. So that is something you have to consider. Am I willing to do this bachelor and master to do this, right? To do this. And you have to be also very good, right? So you need to be able to study well. You need to be good under pressure. So if you have like big anxiety, right, that's a good indicator that you should not do this. All right. So the same with China, right? Like the competitiveness is of this game is very strong. So think about it, right? Like just because I do not recommend studying this doesn't mean that is the end of your IT career. Like there's many ways to roam. I'm going to suggest that a little bit later on. All right, so the market is shrinking, yes. So not only because of AI, but because they see that the many people that we already have is becoming saturated. So it means that they don't need the people anymore, right? They need less people. So you need to figure out like, okay, am I willing to do more than the person that is already working 5 years ago? I'll give you an example. If you are a back-end engineer or a front-end engineer, nowadays just programming is not enough. The soft skills are not enough. No, you're gonna have to work on actually cloud or DevOps, right? You need to have the skills, making sure to monitor pipelines, making sure to maybe create pipelines, maybe integrate tests, right? Working with Azure or Amazon or Google Cloud, depending on which one you pick, right? It's a whole kind of environment. And you need to be able to work with those very well. That will be becoming the standard. For now, it's still an edge, but maybe in a year or two, that will be the standard, because the cloud jobs, many cloud engineers probably don't agree with me, which is totally fine, but these eventually can be absorbed in these kinds of role, especially for the front, back end, full stack, and anything that is surrounding. They expect you to have knowledge with that. Now, if you want to have like in-depth knowledge, then of course cloud architects, cloud engineers will definitely exist. All right. Should you study computer science if you're in India? Yes, but you should actually do a master. Very simple. Should you study computer science if you're in the USA? No, only if you are going to attend a prestigious school. Should you study computer science if you're in China? Yes, and you should get a master, and a master overseas, not in China. Should you study computer science if you are in Europe? Maybe. That depends on you, and it depends on your country. Why? Because in my country, it's not a necessity. You can work your way up. But in some countries, such as Germany, it's actually the requirement because they value these certifications a lot. Okay, so you need to do research on your country, like on going on Indeed, going to LinkedIn, doing a lot of comparisons, counting, and see what companies are asking, talk to people, right? There's a lot of research involved. If these things that I just said already gives you anxiety, that's a good sign. Don't do this. Go do something else in the IT world, okay? Let me see. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, I didn't talk about South America, Africa, because I don't have enough knowledge. I'm sorry, okay? If you're from there, I'm sorry. Computer science is not for beginners. That's why you should not study computer science. The moment that you enter in a school, and this is your first time, like you made a little program before, like one script for a game, that's not enough. That is not enough. Nowadays, you already have to have like 1 year of experience and even a couple of years of experience, because that is becoming the average. I'll give you an example. In India, they are already studying Python in middle school, early middle school. Nowadays, kids that are 6 or 7 are already solving coding challenges, right? So these are the competitors that you will see later on. They are extremely smart. They have extremely large experience, and those are your students, your, you know, fellow students. So if you come as a beginner, and they will never tell you, if you're lucky if they tell you, they are working at the same time that they are studying. And I'm being serious, guys. So if you expect to come there and be like, okay, I'm just going to study full time, that's okay. But they are studying like 10 to 12 hours. They get like A grades, and you're struggling with getting like a C grade. Now, why is that? Because of their experience, right? They already have experience. Some even, I met two people. One was a data manager. The other one already had experience as a senior full stack engineer for 5 years. And the big thing is that he was doing this for fun because he got this funded by his company to do that because he was going to stay longer. All right? These are your fellow students. So if you come as a completely beginner, that's fine. But you're going to encounter this very much and you're going to be very stressed. I almost fell for this trap and I'm happy I didn't. I'm happy that I had the experience. But there were fellow students there that I talked to that didn't have the experience and they were crying every day. Okay? So I want you to ingrain this thought, right? You need experience already because that is the average of studying computer science nowadays. All right. You're not going to a prestigious school. Like if you're going for like a community college, it's all fine. And of course, it is better than having no education. But it's better if you're young to get experience already, then get the education. If your country allows it, right? Like you have to figure out a way. I will give you an example. Let's assume you are a student from Italy and you want to study in the USA. No, let's do Europe because Europe is easier because it's in Europe. You want to study in, I don't know, Spain, right? I'm just saying so. You're going to Spain, but what I want you to do is actually get a job first in Italy. I don't want you to study yet. I want you to try, make a couple of projects, go try, and go for a job. And that is the funny part, what I'm saying, because most of you guys don't want to study. Most of you guys want to have a job. Try to get a job without education so you get the experience how hard it is, and then go to study because studying computer science will be easy for you. Okay? So make that up in your mind. Now, there's a lot of methods that you can do to study this, right? Like whatever, there's a lot of tips. Maybe I'm going to talk about it in this video, maybe not. We'll see. If you're going to study computer science, you have to be aware that you're not competing locally. No, you're competing globally because this job can be done everywhere. But something that you have to consider, only the top 10% will be working remote and the top 30% will be working hybrid. So that is something that you have to keep in mind, okay? The rest will either go on site or won't have a job at all, okay? So I want you to understand this, that you're not competing locally. And that's fine if you're young, right? That's why I say try to get a job first, then go study computer science because that experience will get you to the study, okay? Now, the next thing is the golden age has been over. So the golden age has been here for a couple of times. Many opinions fly through the chamber, but I would like to say there was a golden age between 2013 and 2015. There was a golden age between 2018 and 2020. and it was a golden age between 2021 and 2023. But now with AI, this game changed. There is no golden age at the moment. So this could happen that there will be a golden age in a couple of years, sure, when people maybe realize, okay, AI is not solving everything. We need people. We need people that can work with AI and can work with cloud and some kind of other things. So you need these extra skills. So every time a golden age comes, you also need these skills. Okay, that is something you have to consider if it comes back. Now, some people might say, oh, why study computer science in a time of AI? Well, to be honest, my opinion is that you should study computer science if you have the budget for it and all the reasons that I gave you to study computer science. So go back to somewhere in this video where I list all the reasons why you should study computer science. These are valid reasons. Don't worry about the competition yet because you will get a paper, right? So the next thing that we have here is that you're old. Now, what is old? Old is considered, depending on the country, some of them will say 25, some will say 30. I think on average, older than 30 years old, you should not study computer science. You should actually get a lot of certificates, get experience, and work your way up. I think that is the best thing. And later on, if you really want to study computer science, you can do it. But don't break your bank because you probably have responsibilities to get a degree and no experience. No, get the experience first, especially when you're older. Okay, so the other things is that there are a little bit small reasons, but you hate fast changing environments. So the only couple of environments that doesn't change a lot with anything what has to do with computer science is governments or sub-governments or contractors of governments. The rest are usually very fast or large enterprises, right? Those are the slow and more slower environments, but the rest is fast-paced, startup, geeky, those kinds of stuff. So if you love this stuff, iterating through stuff, then you should study computer science, but if you hate change a lot, then you shouldn't. All right, the next thing is you like to touch grass. I hate to break it down to you, but if you like touching grass more than looking at a screen, I'm going to be very honest with you, that's fine. You want to get the bag and get the fuck out of there. Do not study computer science, actually get a job in the IT field and get something that you actually can touch grass. Don't go be compete with all these people and never touch grass when you really want to touch grass, right? You don't like being social. Companies nowadays also want you to be social. They won't want you to be a geek. No, they want you to be a social geek. So if you don't like company culture, on computer science, there's also company culture. If you don't like it, if you don't want to have to adapt, don't study. Go get a job. Okay? You hate mistakes. Well, with programming, if mistakes get you insecure, and if you hate stumping your head for like 10 days straight or even a month straight before finding a solution, if you really struggle with that, with your confidence for like a really long time, up to the point that you just want to quit everything in the sense of not temporary, but like indefinite, this is not for you. And the last one is that you hate mathematics. So if you don't like math, you don't like statistics, you don't like discrete mathematics, and it's not gonna get hardcore depending on what company you're going to. For example, if you're going to go work for Tinder, for example, you might encounter a lot of statistical stuff with algorithms or those kind of stuff. However, if you want to work for like a digital agency, mathematics won't come back often unless you have to deal with a lot of super cool animations. Okay? So, what to do? What is my advice? Well, the first thing you have to recognize, let me put it down because it's like 25 in. Okay, 25 in. So what should you do, right? What should you do to make sure to make a right decision or not, right? Like I'm gonna get advice. If you really want to study computer science, this is my advice. I listed all the things. You can go back to the beginning of the video why you should, and approximately at 8 minutes and 15 seconds, I give the reason why you shouldn't. Now, most of them will be mixed, and you have to actually count them and say, like, if you have more positives or like a break even, that is a reason to study computer science. Now, what do you mean by break even? I gave a list, right? And this list, you have to count them, basically. Now, the second thing what you need to do, you need to recognize your location. So where are you? Even though I said you're going to compete globally eventually, at the beginning, this is not the case, right? You are going to compete locally first, unless you live in a big capital. And I want you to research what kinds of jobs do you like. I want you to experience stuff. I want you to make programs. I want you to make apps. I want you to make a script. I want you to try something. So how are you going to do that? You're going to make your own projects, right? For the upcoming 3 months, you're going to maybe make 2 projects. You don't know anything. Don't worry about it. You're going to make 2 projects. One, you're going to make like a couple of APIs, working with an admin dashboard. And the other thing is that you're going to script making a Windows server installed automatically. So this is more support engineering, and the first one is more backend development. And you're going to experience that. And when you have experienced that, then you have to ask yourself the questions, okay, is this something I can do long term? Either one of them. If there's both no, that's okay. You can try something new. Or you're going to say, maybe I want to be an academic. Maybe I just want to do project management in the IT. That's also fine, right? Then you're going to do more like the applied computer science. And that basically means that you're going to work on that. You're not going to necessarily program as much. You're going to more lead with the Scrum Master, and the developers you will make based on the decision. You're going to write more documentation. You're going to be more feature based. Okay, you want to push this feature, and you're going to talk with the stakeholders and those kind of stuff. If that is your thing, this could also be, but it's something you cannot experience on yourself. So the first thing is that you have to experience a DIY. You have to do it. Because if this is already stressing you, right, like you don't want to do it and you're postponing, you're not really serious, I can get it. Maybe from you need some external pressure. You then should have like an accountability partner and make this shit done. Okay. The second thing is that you're going to research the job. You're going to reverse engineer the requirements, and then you're going to count, right? You're going to count them. All the requirements. It's like, is this something I can do without a diploma, without a bachelor, without a master? All right? And if you can, there's a good chance that you should study computer science, or even should, if you're a really confident person, just go to apply for a job, right? So, for example, in the USA, if you are there, it's good if you go for like a support engineer position, email developer, Salesforce assistant, cloud assistant, those back-end developer. These positions are easier to grab, so it's like a lower requirement level, right? This is a good way to get into the industry. Now, if you're in Europe, a lot of these positions that I've just mentioned are mixed. So for working with CRMs and working with CMSs, you need either a marketing or communication level of bachelor to actually start working with those tools. So these these jobs do not exist in my country. So you need to figure out, right, your location, what kind of jobs is there, what is out there, and then be like, okay, this is what I want to grow into, because you're locally first. Okay? Now, the third thing that you want to do is consider your age. Am I going to study or not? Right? Do you think that you're going to study maybe like between 5 and 7 every morning and go to a job? Then go to do a job. Do you only want to study for a couple of years because you're young? Go do that. Right? We talked about when you should and should not study considering your age. The fourth thing is the responsibility that you have. If you already have a couple of children, or do you need to take care of your mother, those kinds of stuff, you need to consider to get a job first before you're going to study, or you need to do it both at the same time. And that can be really tough for you. So you need to consider when you want to do that or not. So we talked about a lot of things today, why you should and shouldn't study computer science. This is a 30-minute video long, and let me write it down because we are 31 minutes in. And I just want to close this video off by saying thank you if you are still here, and hopefully these things were helpful for you. This is pure based on experience for a lot of people talk, things that I've seen, what you should do. And most people have different experience, that's totally fine. But this is what's happening right now, right? In 2 years, it might be different. In 2 years, this study might not even exist, right? But for now, if you're going to invest 3-4 years into a study, make sure to also have practical experience next to it. All right, so I'm gonna close on this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment if you want to see me make a 6 on today with 7 years, because it's what this channel is all about. And I will see you until the next one.